Welcome to episode 175 of Watching a Plane. Yes, I know the number this time.
It's the wrong number.
It's the right number. As long as 174 goes up, which it hasn't yet. The Last of Us, episode 3. Would you say that
You know
it's...
what I learned today?
Okay.
I learned that The Last of Us Season 1 is going to be the first game, and then they're going to, like, take a year or two off. And
Yeah,
do
I just
Season
told
2,
you
which is
this.
the second game.
I
Shut up.
You sure you didn't hear it from me? Because that's
No.
what I just told you.
I did hear it from another podcast. So.
Oh my goodness.
And then they said that they'll have to change the girl in Season 2 because I guess she's older.
Told you that too.
Listen. And then maybe you told me this.
Maybe
too.
you should listen.
Did you tell me?
Realize where you heard it from first.
Did you tell me that the game producers are working with the guys on the show to figure out what they're going to do for Season 3 because they're still making the Season 3 game?
What I said,
Part 3
kinda. What I said was that they're gonna run out of stuff, and they are making the third game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's whether or not they want to branch off and do like
like a Game of Thrones thing.
because they can. They'll have plenty of source material, and a lot of people are interested, and it'll probably be overdone.
Did you know also that Last of Us is based on a video game?
I fucking hate you. Did you see my shirt?
My shirt's better.
The day you finally get into your shirt.
Yours is either talking about, and forget the green that's disappeared on it so you can see his six-pack underneath it. Saying love yourself is either saying, hey, it's okay to be whatever you want to be, or masturbate a lot.
Well, that's the point.
Coupled with the word whack.
What?
That's what ruins it. Love everyone, whack off, and love yourself.
So my point of view on these is the pride thing, because they are pride phrases, but they can also be associated sexually.
See, I like hate fucking, so that's why masturbation really works for me, because I hate myself. When I'm furiously masturbating, like, yeah, you pig.
That's the shirt I need to make you. Hate fuck me.
Hate fuck me. Hate jerk me.
Do it in some weird lettering where people don't get it at first. They have to...
Oh, shit, no. I used to have a shirt.
Do it in
my
French?
favorite shirt that I wore when I was a kid. It was really tiny lettering right down around my belly button, which now is a big blob of fat. But it was really small lettering that said, you're this close already, you might as well suck my dick.
That doesn't surprise me.
We had 2 receptionists at this place I worked. One receptionist got really close and she's like, typical you. So she thought it was funny. The other receptionist, she was from, I believe, either Russia or Belarus. She was like, Rob, what did your shirt say? And I was like, it's nothing. Oh, no, I want to see. So she got real close. She's like, that is very offensive type of thing. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have read it. You should not wear such a thing to the office. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
I totally agree.
Fuck off.
No, but would you wear that now in this day and age?
Yes, and I'd wear it because I work for my home office. And then I went away. Like, I didn't even do anything. And I went away.
Yeah.
No one can see because I'm on my keyboard.
Porn pop-ups. I haven't seen those in a long time.
Asking for she needs my credit card number because she says she has kids.
Send to you? She's going to mail them to you?
Yeah, I pay her and she'll send me her kids.
You've got enough.
For nobody who's watching, I took a Robaxacet because I worked all day on like jerkweed, and my back's really sore, and I can feel this Robaxacet hit me, man.
Already?
I don't know why people do
It hits you
heroin.
that fast?
I don't
It
take
shouldn't.
any drugs.
It
I don't take aspirin. I take nothing.
I think it's because you're near me.
My back hurts. It's forcing me to bend over. Is it because I'm
No.
near you?
No, don't bend over around me. It's a bad idea. Wait, what? So, episode 3. Is this your favorite so far?
No, it's my least favorite so far.
Really? Yeah, I would love to hear why.
The reason it was my least favorite, well, first and foremost, it was a fantastic episode. All of them are fantastic episodes.
Yeah.
The 2 key actors, I forget the one gentleman's name, and of course, the wonderful Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman has much more than Frank. Frank was a great actor, and you have to give me his name. I forget his name. But Nick Offerman has an amazingly, what's the right word I'm looking for? Emotional face. And you wouldn't expect him to, but he is so incredible at portraying this kind of hurt brokenness that the character had to have. He was wonderful.
Murray Bartlett.
Bartlett. But both of them were spectacularly good. I loved the idea of, because one thing you get in a lot of movies and TV shows that are progressive and woke. And I'm
Tropey
not saying
stuff,
this is
yeah.
progressive and woke, but you ever notice that all of the gay couples, speaking of a movie that we just watched where the gay couple is two super handsome white dudes, but they're all like young, hot women. They're all young, hot men. This was two older guys, bearded, not traditionally attractive,
Yeah.
and they loved each other.
And
it
not
was,
traditionally gay.
yeah, exactly. And I
Well,
really,
one was.
I really like that about it. I really, really like that about it. My issue with the episode and why it's my least favorite, and again, it's a wonderful episode, right? It's just my least favorite of the show so far, is it deviates from the story too much. I feel like I'm like, you know what? I want to get back to the story of what's going on with Joel and Ellie. Not that I don't care about these, but I want this to be like 10 minutes of a backstory. I want the story to keep progressing.
I get that from you, how you are. Like, I totally get that from you. But I think you're going to get more of this type of stuff. Because I think
Maybe.
they're in the mindset of the core people that are watching this show, initially at least, are people who know the game.
Or that, yeah. Sure,
So I need to change things enough so that it also entertains them. So why not take things that happen in the game and
build the
expand?
story out of it. Yep, yep.
So like
Yeah,
this
I
this
got
story alone could be its own season.
Yep.
Like if they could have stretched that out and made something more of that.
It
It was awesome.
I liked it. I didn't like that there were some parts that it was almost like they set up Frank and what was Nick Offerman's character's name? Bill.
Yeah.
They set up Frank and Bill, and there's a lot of setup to Frank and Bill. But then they meet. Oh, I'm talking to these people on the radio. I'm gonna have them over for dinner. Okay, you're like, what? Like that went really fast.
That was on purpose though, because of the people that they like.
right, but
Surprise!
it goes so like it's almost like we meet them. They're a couple together. They've been together for a few years. They want to, expand, start seeing other people, like not seeing other people, but talking to other people, and whatnot. And then just boom, it chugs along as I want it to, building the story, building these characters, and then takes off like a fucking Ferrari. And I'm like, whoa, let's slow down. If you want me to care about these characters, and I did, but if you wanted to care more about the characters and care about what they have to do with the overall story, you need to slow down a bit. How did they meet Tess and Joel? Why did they trust Tess and Joel? Did they trust Tess and Joel? What did they show Tess and Joel? What did they tell Tess and Joel? What did Tess and Joel tell them? You didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen that.
Well, let's go through it because it's short. Joel and Ellie begin the hike to meet Bill and Frank.
Okay, I'll talk about when we get to it.
Ellie sees evidence of the government's execution of innocents during the early days of the pandemic.
Yep. And Joel, I like that. I really like the way they set up this protagonist. Because we got, dual protagonists, or what are they called? Two-tagonists or something like that? Or dual-tagonists? I can't remember. There's
a coined phrase?
Yeah, a phrase for when
Okay.
there's two protagonists. But I like that Ellie is the protagonist that we view everything through, and then Joel is the protagonist that gives us all of our exposition. So we've got the Luke Skywalker, who's Ellie, who's walking through everything. How does this work? What is this? Who is there?
Yeah.
And then Joel is the Ben Kenobi that's like, this is that, this is that. I really like the way that's set up. I think it's really cool.
Do you remember how he explained how things happened? How we got to this point?
Yep. They were walking through the forest that's totally not Alberta, Canada. And yeah, he's explaining how they lost Tommy, and then you gotta.
It doesn't say, but
I was gonna say, why am I trying to think of it? It's written right
from
here.
what I understand, he explained it as it was in the grain or something,
Oh, that's right. Yep.
or in the vegetable, just something like that. I
Yeah,
think
the
it was
And then
grain.
it got out, and then it was like 4 days before they realized type of thing, and then people bit, and then those.
And
people
there
that
was
got
a
bit.
little sentence there where he said, I forgot what the reason was, but they forgot I think they forgot to get him his cake or something. So he hadn't had any other grain within that weekend. So it's like within that weekend, the grain that went out was tainted.
Maybe he's gluten free.
Well, I think it had something to do with cake or something, or bread.
Pedro Pascal has some fucking cake. I'll tell you
But
that.
but they pretty much explained why he didn't get the disease or the fungus or whatever you want to call it.
So, totally
Basically, like the division.
talking about something Phil and I were talking about before we started recording, the whole daddy kink. I saw a great interview with Pedro Pascal, and some girl asked him, "Are you a?" I think it was like, "Are you a hot daddy?" And he was like, "Huh." He's like, "I think so." He's like,
Only when he does the Mandalorian voice.
but then he goes, "Are you, compared to Oscar Isaac, are you like a hot daddy?" He's like, I think so. I think I'm a hotter daddy than Oscar Isaac. I mean, he's a real daddy because he has kids. I don't have any kids, but yeah, I'm your daddy. I like the way that sounds. I'm your daddy, and he starts saying it. I'm like, I'm having conflicting emotions.
Is this a Saturday Night Live sketch?
It wasn't. It was him being interviewed by like IGN or something.
It's
Because they're
awesome.
talking about The Mandalorian season 3, and I'm like, I have conflicting emotions because Pedro Pascal's a fantastic actor, and I love him as a Mandalorian, and he seems like such a wonderfully nice person that watching him go, huh, I'm your daddy. I'm your dad. I'm like, this is kind of weirding me out, but I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. But it's weirding me out.
Well, I'm not your daddy.
I brought it up again because I keep trying to get you to be my dad.
Okay. Back.
The next time we record, I'll like sit in your lap. Next time we record, I want you to have like a little fucking, what do you call that thing?
Now my
bassinet
microphone is
beside
messed,
me, and
yeah.
you can just rock me in the bassinet
Will you
to
wear
sleep.
Will you
while
wear a
fucking
diaper?
Read this. Will I wear a diaper?
Frank leaves Baltimore and stumbles upon the compound of paranoid survivalist Bill, who reluctantly takes him in. Again, not explaining how entertaining this was for him to fall into a trap and then for Bill to come up and expecting to shoot the guy in his trap, and then pretty much Frank
Like that night.
getting himself out of trouble.
Yeah. See,
But in like this like kind of like flirting, but not quite flirting, like just being witty, like
well, then Frank has the line, so he's like, they're playing a song by Linda Ronstadt song, and he's like, what woman made you hurt like this? He goes, not a woman, and I think that's the clue. Like, oh, okay, it's two gay dudes. But then when they go to bed together, and he said, I want you to know that I'm not a whore. I'm not doing this just because you fed me or you're keep me here overnight. I'm going to stay for a bit longer. Now, I get the idea is that Bill has never done this before, but Frank kind of came off as a whore. And that's just me. Maybe other people out there will see it differently. And if you do, comment, because no one comments on our stuff because no one watches us or likes us. But Frank kind of came off as a whore to me at the start because he's so confident of what Bill wants from him that I'm like, I feel like Frank has done this a lot before,
he gets he
I
seems
don't
to
like
get
that my volume's so low.
I know.
You pissed and moaned.
We'll
Turn mine up.
okay. Sorry for the people out there for when he yells.
Penis.
When he yells penis.
Yells for penis, like fucking Bill
I
probably was every now and then.
I feel like Bill is. I keep getting them mixed up. Frank is
what's his last name? You just
Frank.
told me.
Okay, so Frank is very much the type of like, if I get myself into trouble, I can talk myself out.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's just relying on that, and probably
more-
has since the pandemic started.
He's more the extrovert, the guy that like can, hey, at parties, I'm the one that's going to talk to everybody, type of thing, right? And Bill is 100%. I think who the majority of the audience of this show is. Kind of like to keep to myself. I don't like to go out and fucking hang out with people. I'm more of an introvert.
So Bill cooks for him, and Bill only knows how to cook like a sous chef or
Also,
something.
You gotta appreciate that when the shit hits the fan and Bill realizes that everything is fucked. First place he goes is Home Depot, and then he's going through Home Depot finding all the shit one is someone that's at Home Depot every other day. I appreciated that, but also it calls back to fucking Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec when he's fixing a light or a ceiling shower light at Andy and April's house, and he's walking through Home Depot, and the guy comes up to him and goes, "Is there anything I can help you with?" And Nick Offerman just stops pushing his cart, looks over at the guy, and goes, "I know more than you," and then just starts fucking walking
Nice.
again. I'm like, that's great. And it reminded me, it was flashbacks to that.
So he cooks for him like a sous chef, which is quite nice. Like, I'm sure that's what
Dude, that food looked fucking good.
I'm sure that's what made him fall in love with him. Period. If you were getting fed like that,
But
it's the end.
do you think if Bill was like, "Hey, here's some meat," and then later on,
Here's some meat.
"Here's some meat,"
Well, first they had to go to the piano, and yeah,
play Linda Ronstadt.
exactly. Frank starts playing
Poorly.
his favorite song in a poor method. He's like, "I can't handle this. I need to take over,"
Yeah.
and plays it amazingly. And then they have sex.
Yep. And you know we're making jokes about it because we're idiots, but it was a very tender, very touching
Oh yes.
episode. But again, deviated too much. And if it had the view that it was going to play into the overall narrative, I think I would like it more. But the fact that it felt like an abandon from the narrative, so we can fill up 9 episodes. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it doesn't need to be here. I'm one of the guys that would just watch Joel and Ellie all 9 episodes of the show. Some people are not like that. Some people are like, dude, I'm gonna get bored watching these 2 characters. I want to see other shit that happened in the world. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the same thing with Walking Dead. People got bored of just seeing the regular characters and their drama.
Yep. Whereas
bullshit.
me, I'm that guy that could just watch those.
Depending, you couldn't because you
I
didn't.
could.
You stopped.
Because I'd start saying, "How come he doesn't talk like the Mandalorian?"
The men begin a romance, sharing a love for music and food. Years later, Frank contacts Tess by radio, and the 2 groups enter a tenuous friendship. You were telling me how, I guess it was earlier in this episode, you were telling me how that you wish that was more.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't, "Hey, I'm talking to these people on the radio. Oh, now they're here." I'm like, no, I want to see more about what happened in the middle of that. Learning to trust each other. Also, not to fucking mention, in the very first episode when Ellie cracks the code of the 80s are great, the 90s are trouble, the code that they have set up. It's literally explained in that Frank and Tess are walking away from the camera, and he goes, "Oh, you know what? By the way, we should have a code. It should be like the 80s, which is the greatest. That's everything's going good, and then the 90s, things are so bad. It's when it's going bad. Like, it's supposed to be like I get it. You know, that's it's a hard way to say it. Like I get that they're trying to say like this was just all part of what came together.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was almost kind of looked over. Like if you weren't paying attention,
They gave
would
you-
have totally missed that.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
They gave you the dots, and then they connected it at the end. I also think that it would be. I think they have it in their minds that a person who is watching this show who has not played the game will get something out of it later to play the game, because you're going to get that what you're asking for, just straight up them going through the story.
See, I've never going to play the game because I'm not a video game person. But
Plus,
I
you don't
will
have a PlayStation.
watch on YouTube.
Oh, you could watch
I could watch,
walkthrough.
just a walkthrough.
Where are we?
That's the
That's
Mongolian version of the show that you were speaking of Mongolian, of course.
that's the sound that Bill makes when he tongue punches Frank's ass.
Oh, fuck. Were we going to do a thing where I wasn't going to swear? I probably swore.
Next episode.
Okay, hold on. I'm talking about swearing to shit. You're talking about tonguing another guy's ass, but I'm the fucking one that gets us banned on YouTube.
There's nothing wrong with tongue punching an ass.
No, it's tongue punching the fart box.
I don't want to think of that. In the
Okay, but I'll go. But you won't say tongue punches the fart box.
No. In the present, Frank is terminally ill,
terminate.
and asks Bill
He's a Terminator.
and asked Bill.
This chair is part of my body.
Frank is
Where the
terminally
fuck did
ill
they find a wheelchair?
and asked Bill to assist in his suicide
That was
after
another
they
thing.
marry.
So it shows when they're older, and Bill says to him, "Did you have your pills?" How in the flying fuck do they know what pills he needs to take?
Also, by that time, does he not do his pills for him?
Yeah, but I'm more like, wouldn't you have to go to a doctor, and that doctor would say, "Oh, okay, you know what? You have diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever. Take these pills."
Yeah.
Who the fuck told them to take these fucking pills?
I would assume they've gone into town when he got sick, and there's a medical person.
Maybe.
Like
Okay.
they're just skipping over things that don't need to
If
be
you
explained.
fucking say so,
Don't
Mister. I
need
played
to.
the game.
I didn't play the game. I would like to, but I'm not a PlayStation person. When Joel and
Racist towards PlayStations.
okay, so they have their last. Frank realizes he's going to die, and
he
he's
wants
like,
to go on a high note.
yeah, he's like, I'm done. Like, and I'm that type too. Like, I told my wife, like, if I get to the point where I just can't enjoy life anymore, I just want to die. Like, F that. I don't want to.
Yes, don't say fuck. Say F that.
I'm trying to help you through this
I'm still gonna
epidemic
fucking swear.
of swearing.
Swear-endemic.
Swear-demic? I don't know. Swear-damic.
Swear-damic. Oh, that's got to be a word in like Norwegian or something. Swear-damic.
It's a great episode. So he wants to kill himself, and then Bill accepts, and they have their last dinner, and then they go and have wine.
Also,
We've skipped over the whole
Bill
bandits coming in, and
Oh yeah. I really that was a very touching moment when he's like, dude, I'm done, and how Bill really couldn't let him go, and he's like, I can't do it. A real testament to how good these two actors are. I was really impressed by the both of them.
so then they pull a Romeo and Juliet,
Yep.
and they go together.
Also, I like that the show had the dignity, and I choose to say dignity because you could take artistic license and do what Walking Dead did to show. Walking Dead wanted to be more the terrible things that have happened because of this apocalypse, right? Like, they go to the house and the guy's painted "God forgive us" in his wife's blood, and then blew his head off, and the whole back of his head is gone, right? And they've been there for fucking months and months, so it's all maggots and flies and shit. And this one, they chose to just have those guys dead together in their bed, but you never see them. You know what I mean? The camera never shows their corpses or anything. I thought that was a real impressive decision. I feel like sometimes it's necessary to see it, and other times it's absolutely not.
And Joel had to walk in on it.
Yeah.
But he knew what
he knew what he was walking into. It's better that he walks into it than Ellie walks into it. And I just thought that was I kept on waiting for them to cut to it. I'm like, all right, come on. Your money shot is showing these two dead dudes in the bed together. It's
true.
And they never did.
How are
And
you
I was-
gonna do
I was
it?
impressed
Yeah.
by that.
When Joel and Ellie arrive, they discover a letter Bill left for Joel. Bill wrote that protecting Frank gave his life meaning and left Joel his supplies.
Yep.
They didn't even rate the most important thing, and told Joel to do the same for the girl,
Yep.
not Ellie,
Oh, Tess.
for Tess,
Yeah.
because they didn't know about Ellie yet.
I did like, and I wonder how this plays in the game, because every time I'm watching the show, I'm like, okay, where in the game is this? I imagine they find a place like this, and it's stashed with fucking guns, and it's like, all right, dude, pick the 2 guns that you're allowed to carry in the game. And I imagine that Joel is going to be like, dude, there are some hardcore fucking guns here, and he's just going to take all sorts of stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if it has, like, in some games they'll be like, oh, there's a shit ton of guns, but you can only select
Carry
2 of them.
Yep.
And not your choice of 2. It's just whatever they say that you're allowed.
I like in Left 4 Dead, they do that where you go into an ammo store in I think it's Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah, you walk into an ammo store and there's a whole shit ton of guns, and there's like 10 guns in the whole game that you can have, and you can go and there's all 10. You're like, which one do I want? Which one do I want? And I chose the one I like the most, which is always a machine gun and the shotgun.
So Joel and Ellie then take the truck and set out to find Tommy. So I will tell you that Bill is not
Bill.
the nice, interesting guy, or like he's gruff in this, and he is definitely a far left
Oh yeah.
type, but that
taking my guns, America.
that's its own social, not so, that's its own
Commentary. Social
social commentary on like there's a certain sect of, let's say, Proud Boys that hide their homosexuality behind
I don't think he ever hid his
these types of
homosexuality.
acts.
I feel like his homosexuality was just never called upon. You know, he struck me as the type of guy that lived with his mom until his mom died.
I think he was hiding it.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe you're right. But what I mean is, like, I don't think he was like a Proud Boy, going out and saying, yeah, kill all them gays type of thing. Like, he was never that guy. He was just his.
Borderline.
I don't think so. His sexuality, the vibe I got from his character was his sexuality had never been called into question. He'd always had the desire, but he was always gay, so he always, wanted to be with a man. But it was never because he was a survivalist. Everyone was like, he's just a weirdo.
You would think
his
there'd be
sexuality was never called into question.
self-hatred.
I didn't see a lot of self-hatred. I saw a lot of he does his own thing. And that's why he has such a hard time bringing Frank into his life, because he is so regimented and scheduled with everything he does. When you deviate from that a little bit, even if it's for your own passions, when you deviate a little bit, it fucks everything up. So he is a guy that is a creature of a schedule,
So in the game, he's very much
These guys are in the game?
hateful. Yes.
Oh,
He's very much a hateful person. Like,
really?
yeah. There's no, I don't believe there's redeeming qualities for him specifically. And there's more there's less to their characters, I guess. So, like, that's all I really know.
I'm very surprised to hear that they show up in the game. I thought this was a complete deviation of the game.
So
Now, if Frank Bill is not a homosexual in the video game, then I can understand all these assholes pissing and fucking moaning about, he's not gay in the video game. Because I've heard a bunch of people pissing and moaning that they don't like these two gay characters.
I'm pretty sure he is a homosexual in the video game. He's just a very hateful one.
But I wonder, and again, because all the gay dudes that we see, gay dudes and gay women that we see in TV, they're always like attractive, young, hip, good looking, and this was two older men. And I wonder if that played into why a lot of people are mad. I don't see old gay guys on TV.
Definitely something to say about being in the infancy of wokeness, in a way.
I wouldn't call us in the infancy of wokeness. I'd honestly say that we are in the just beginning of the petering out of wokeness. Wokeness has will never realize its own mistake. That it is an absolute cesspool of hypocrisy. But the people that see it for what it is have finally figured out how to formulate, here's how we spit back at the fucking woke stooges and say, yeah, you know what? You want to celebrate gayness? You want gayness inclusive everywhere? Here's two older guys that do not match the normal criteria that you're seeing of all homosexual couples on shows.
But that's basically what I'm saying is...
Well, you're saying it wrong.
The wokeness...
I should talk into your microphone. Hey, Phil. Oh, look. It fucking went super loud.
Yeah, I know.
Like
because your voice
personality.
is louder than my voice
I
in
have
general.
a loud voice.
You do.
I've been told that a lot. I have a very loud voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd be
I'm used to it.
surprised how many female and male people that it works for.
So the
But you know who doesn't like it? My kids. My kids, so we had to have a talk on the weekend. Don't worry, it's going to be, you can edit all this out. We're going to have a...
You know I won't unless it's...
We had a conversation on the weekend about everybody pulling their own weight, right? And we're like, boys, you're entitled. We're getting the vibe that you're fucking entitled and you think you deserve all the shit you have. You don't.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. So I'm like, we're gonna.
These things are a privilege. Yeah, totally.
Now we already do chores with the boys, but we're gonna be like, okay, now you boys are gonna have like your regular jobs that you do every week. So
Sure.
You're doing this, blah blah blah. And I said, your mom is upset, and Leslie is upset, and if they get upset, Dad gets really upset. And what does Dad do when he gets upset? And both of them are like yell, and both of them started fucking tearing up because I don't I don't scream at my kids. I don't yell at my kids, even though I'm sure people think otherwise.
Let me
But-
guess. It's that realization that you're doing it too much, and then you're like, oh,
Nope.
No?
Nope, not that at all. But when I yell, it's a very scary thing. Everyone is always like, whoa, like, because I've never yelled like, I'll fucking beat you up, but I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, you do this because we are telling you, we are your parent. Like when I start going into that mode,
but even when you talk normally, you project.
I have a loud voice, but
Yeah.
when it gets like I am yelling at you, nobody in this house likes it.
Yeah, I can
And
see
my
that.
dad was kind of the same way. My dad would never yell, but when he raised his fucking voice, you better believe that I was like, whoop, you know what I mean?
I've had those moments where I'm like, I need to calm down, like come back, because like I'll realize it a little too much,
Yep.
like,
Oh,
especially for the moment. But you get angry.
And you know what? As a dad, and I think as a good dad, which I am, you weren't, but you realize you've made that mistake and then you apologize to your kid. You know what I mean? You know what? Sorry, dude. I went too far. You give him a hug. You're like, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry. I feel like as a dad, that is, if you can do that, that's really that's what your kids remember you being the best dad as. And it's like the easiest part of being a dad. Just admit it's the easiest part of being a man. So all the guys out there that, one, can't admit you're wrong,
Yeah.
you're an idiot, and two,
It's weakness.
just say sorry. When you fuck something up, just say sorry. It's so easy. I don't get these guys that have the fucking problem with that.
I can't remember a time when my dad went too much and then admitted it or apologized for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, my stepfather was his own type of man. And we won't go into that because this is a therapy session. But my dad is a very, when I was growing up, not a very emotive guy. And when he would get angry, my dad wouldn't get angry and he would raise his voice. He would never yell, but it was more the disappointment. He would always express his disappointment, but he would never apologize for that or say, hey, you know what? Proud of you for this, whatever. That didn't happen until I got into my like 20s and 30s when I think my dad realized he fucked up. And when he had my younger brother, he tried to do it all right and found out, okay, if you go too far one way, you get a kid fucked up this way. If you go too far this way, you get a kid fucked up this way. So now he's trying to
And then
figure
that
out the
line
middle ground.
changes depending on the
kid.
the person. Yeah.
Yeah. But The Last of Us, we got to do a
It,
fucking
it
fathering
actually
lesson.
it actually relates
Yeah, for taking care of Ellie.
because Joel becomes a father-like thing.
Because he's a daddy. Remember, Pedro Pascal said, I'm a hot daddy.
And we'll loop it all in. It was a great episode
Yep.
and had more viewers again, 747,000.
Really happy that the show is getting the viewers.
Seems like it
that
should be
has. But again, I always get nervous that it's going to.
Why?
It's going to. It's like Walking Dead, where man, this is great. Second season, God, this is good. Third season, you're like, and then 4th, 5th, 6th to 11th season, you're like, nah, just end it, guys.
We'll see. We're going to keep going. Next week, we'll do episode 4.
With more parenting lessons. The dog doesn't want to hear. She's walking away. We are sorry that you've been watching.
We're sorry that you have
to
to
watch this.
listen to these audio levels that might be messed
They're
up.
good audio levels.
Last week, they were
They don't
messed up.
fucking equalize.
We'll see.
Fuck off.